Hello, and welcome back to Cardano Coin, where we bring you the most recent and intriguing ADA news. We're giving away 1,000 ADA to those who are watching. All you have to do is upvote, subscribe, comment Cardano is king, and watch the video to the end to be eligible. The winners will be picked next month and publicized on the community page of the channel. Despite the extreme unpredictability of digital currencies, Bitcoin has had significant peaks. Every time you celebrate a skyrocket, the market immediately retreats significantly, and it takes several years for it to surpass the previous high. We clearly cannot go through time. It is interesting to consider how Bitcoin has developed over time and, more significantly, to consider whether a current similar trend indicates that Cardano ADA is about to repeat history. There was a lot of excitement in 2019 when 94,504 Bitcoins were sent for a network fee of around $700 to an unidentified address. It was a fascinating sight because in 2019, enormous quantities like that weren't typically moved in such a way. However, in the early days of Bitcoin, individuals often witnessed significant transactions like these without raising an eyebrow, since transaction fees were as little as a penny. Currently, it appears that such excitement only comes from one source. Nevertheless, at the time, Bitcoin was almost given away for free or for a significant discount compared to current market prices. Present-day people become thrilled when they consider getting one Bitcoin, as you can see from reading the forum posts on Reddit. And some 2011 people did the same thing, but instead of having one coin, they held thousands of them. Things were much more interesting back then than they are now, when Bitcoin is the center of attention. Back then, developers were creating innovative tools to boost the country's crypto economy, but nobody knew what to make of the Bitcoin network, and many powerful people expressed skepticism about its future development. The more comfortable governments and banks were dealing with Bitcoin, said Vitalik Buterin, who was only a technical editor at Bitcoin magazine, the more comfortable the currency would become. Many organizations will take the necessary steps on their own. Since the early days of Bitcoin, a lot has happened, and there are now additional cryptocurrencies vying for the top spot. Cardano ADA (AEEE) is undoubtedly one of them. Many people still cling to the idea that it is beneficial to revisit the past because of old tales, and that doing so will allow them to better understand how the system has evolved and developed over the past 13 years. In the crypto world daily, there is always activity, and a short look back reveals how much past performance has been superior to recent ones. Growth has been stunted thus far, and the past is significantly better than the present. In just 13 years, Bitcoin has experienced an incredible climb, going from having no monetary value to exploding past $60,000. Earlier that year, the profits have been astounding for those who entered the market early and have kept on to their investment. The price of Bitcoin first surpassed $1 in February 2020, and in 2013, when prices spiked as high as $12.42, he experienced his first significant upswing in popularity. Then, in a few years, Bitcoin passed the $50,000 mark in $60,000 mark. Then it rose to an all-time high of more than $69,000 in April. No one anticipated that Bitcoin, a fledgling cryptocurrency, would generate any significant returns when it first went public 13 years ago. Despite a ban from China, greater regulatory attention, and extreme volatility. But despite its terrible restrictions, it is currently giving investors a run for their money. When Dan Gorman, Dalo, the founder of the Crypto Capital Initiative, revealed that Cardano might follow Bitcoin's footsteps, he captured the attention of investors. He demonstrated the striking similarities between the performance of Cardano ADA in 2022 and that of Bitcoin in 2013 in one of his YouTube videos. He demonstrated the plenty of opportunities in ADA for value investors using its weekly charts. Garbatella outlined his viewpoint and emphasized how undervalued Cardano is over the long haul. The cryptocurrency expert went on to describe the Cardano ecosystem and provided numerous examples of why he thinks ADA and Bitcoin are similar. Amendola additionally posted a segment from a 2013 Andreas Antonopoulos Bitcoin video in which he discussed the topic of Bitcoin neutrality. The meeting was barely attended, and at the time, the market capitalization of Bitcoin was just over $1 billion, just shy of the $1 billion, just shy of the $1. This incident is related to Cardano ADA and occurred a few years later. Cardano was expected to follow the trajectory of Bitcoin at the time of the Garbandas video and was trading with a market cap of over $13 billion. It's simple to determine that both cryptocurrencies' technologies are somewhat comparable after taking a closer look at them. Every investor longs for the days of enormous profits and stability for their investments. However, it is not appropriate to repeat history at this time. Macroeconomic issues and Federal Reserve involvement are also making matters worse. In an effort to reduce inflation, the Federal Reserve announced a fourth straight 7% rate increase in early November. By raising interest rates, which make borrowing more expensive and hence less enticing, the Federal Reserve hopes to reduce inflation. For Americans already dealing with the growing cost of things, the move further raises debt payments. In spite of the fact that it only decreased from a peak of 9.1s in June to 8.2 in September, the inflation rate has remained persistently high. Fed Chair Jerome Powell has reiterated his commitment to reducing inflation in recent months by continuing to raise interest rates. However, he admitted in August that raising borrowing costs will hurt both individuals and businesses. Inhibiting economic growth with higher interest rates can lead to a recession in which many individuals are already struggling to make ends meet and risk losing their employment. However, further rises can hurt. Although the Fed's policy is intended to cut prices, they may decide to change it as long as reports of its unfavorable outcomes and repercussions on the populace continue to plague the system. According to Fed President Patrick Harker, as we get closer to a sufficiently restrictive stance in the coming months, we expect to decrease the pace of our rate hikes. This is because of the cumulative tightening we have already achieved. But let me be clear. Even a 50 basis point rate increase will have an impact. Despite this terrible circumstance, Cardano ADA is working to uphold his image. It is one of those initiatives with much greater potential than just being a successful investment. The network has developed into a powerful community as a result of his foundation and academic research that has been peer-reviewed. However, from the middle of September, ADA has demonstrated minimal price sensitivity. This is because Nance set its financing rates, which gradually increased along with a price fall, allowing buyers to profit from changes in Bitcoin prices and the market as a whole. Anyway, long-term cryptocurrency investors have long favored Cardano, despite the recent coinage struggles. According to several sources, investors continue to have a high level of confidence in the project. The volume of transactions and on-chain activity have continued to rise, as shown by a pair of figures from Sari highlighting the fact that the protocol is being used more than ever. In spite of declining prices, current ADA owners have embraced the concept of building up their holdings. Owners of 100 to 1,000 tokens now make up 1.15 of the available supply, up from 1.92s last month, while the number of holders increased by a factor of 59 from 1010 coins from 1010 coins to 4-factor 95. Additionally, Cardano NFT's volume has increased as investors switch from his closest rival Solana to the chain. This unexpected action followed a directive from the top Solana marketplace, Magic Eden, to make royalties optional, raising worries that new connections will be deterred from launching on the blockchain. Additionally, even while the successful completion of the vessel hard fork 2 months ago didn't result in a price increase, it will undoubtedly make Cardano more attractive to decentralized developers. With Sunday Swap now employing Hydra and due to its carbon net zero setup, and Muesli Swap successfully integrating Plutus, several other changes are on the way. Investors in venture capital and institutions have already expressed a great deal of interest in it. Although it has always promised enormous profits, the next bull run, whenever that may be, may witness exponential growth. However, there are times when it seems as though Cardano's virtues are simply insufficient to make up for his flaws. The ADA currency, which was once among the top 5 cryptocurrencies by market cap, has undoubtedly continued to underperform short-term investor expectations. Currently, Cardano has the genuine risk of dropping out of the top 10. This urgent rescue operation is required, right? It's amazing how investors were so enthralled by Bitcoin in its early days despite its crashes. At that time, it was acceptable to purchase Bitcoin at a discount. Investors are already debating whether to do the same for Cardano ADA. Of course, what do you think about this? Let me comment in the space provided below. Check out our other videos to see how Cardano is living up to the dream of being the Ethereum killer before we find out in the next video, which we will post. Be sure to always click the subscribe notification buttons.